The second and more important thing that raising deductibles would accomplish would be to force the re-engagement of the healthcare end consumer, which is us, with the market. The primary reason that the cost of healthcare is irrationally increasing is because the end consumer, which is us, has been removed from the marketplace. The people consuming healthcare today neither know nor care what any of the goods or services they are consuming cost or the level at which they are priced, and those are two different things. The consumer consumes and then just shrugs their shoulders and says to themselves, "Meh, the insurance will cover it." And you wonder why prices are inflating instead of deflating? There is no competition in the marketplace. If there is no competition, prices are going to go up, not down. If the end consumer has zero incentive to compare prices or even inquire as to what the price structure is for the various goods and services that they are consuming, by what magical mechanism are prices going to go down? You tell me. The perfect example of this that we can all relate to is LASIK vision correction. Even if we've never had LASIK ourselves, we've heard and seen the commercials for it on radio and TV. When LASIK was first introduced about 15 years ago, it cost upwards of $5,000 per eye using the first generation technology. Today, I found several advertisements online for LASIK priced at $299 per eye using technology vastly superior to that which was used 15 years ago. Why is this? Why has the price structure for this medical procedure dropped in excess of 90% in 15 years while the technology was simultaneously becoming more sophisticated? It's very simple. Most people have to pay for LASIK out of their own pocket. Their insurance doesn't cover it. Therefore, people are incentivized to shop around and seek out the best combination of low cost and the most modern technology. And LASIK providers have been forced by this free market competition to offer the lowest price. Now, understand that if LASIK was widely covered by insurance, not only would it still cost $5,000 an eye, it would in all likelihood cost closer to $10,000 per eye today because it would track the cost inflation curve of all other surgical procedures covered by insurance. If LASIK was covered by insurance, people wouldn't even ask what it cost, and the LASIK providers certainly wouldn't advertise the cost. Now imagine what would happen if people were again forced to fully pay for their own routine and elective health care. Imagine what would happen if the power of the free market and competition was turned loose on office visits, emergency room visits, MRIs, childbirth, and prescription medicines, and all the other commodities. These services and commodities have become so unnaturally inflated by the improper use of insurance that I think a 90% reduction in the price of some of these services would not be unreasonable if the free market was allowed to do its job. Now, let's go in the other direction and let's make this situation as bad as we possibly can. Let's go to a single-payer healthcare system that has a deductible at or near zero. Yeah, let's eliminate even the competition that currently exists between the health insurance companies who do haggle to some extent with healthcare service providers. Let's eliminate all of that and go to a zero competition, zero deductible system, which is the goal of Obamacare. If you think that that's going to reduce costs, then apparently Barack Obama isn't the only person currently smoking crack in this country. The only thing that will accomplish is to utterly collapse the federal government, which will then, by default, collapse the entire economy and the nation. But then maybe that's the plan. Maybe none of this has anything to do with health care at all. Maybe it is all just a scheme to collapse and overthrow the United States and set up a new global government of some sort. You think? Now, let me lay out a very simple example of how this might work. And this is admittedly incredibly simplistic and is not meant to be an exhaustive plan. All I'm trying to do is lay out a very rough template and get you to start thinking about what a path forward might be. Let's go back to our example of a $50,000 per year income with a $5,000 annual deductible. What an insurance company might do is offer medical escrow accounts. If I post my full deductible amount in my escrow account, the insurance company could then offer me a reduced monthly premium because A, they know I'm good for my full deductible amount, and B, because they have the use of my money, which would essentially be an interest payment dynamic. They could then issue a charge card that I could then use to pay for all of my medical expenses, replenishing my escrow account balance as needed. This would allow me to easily track all of my medical expenses and would incentivize me to both comparison shop, which drives down prices in and of itself, and not overconsume because I would be spending my own money out of my own escrow account. If I have to pay for everything myself, in this case up to 10% of my gross income, maybe I'll think twice about going to the doctor and demanding a 28-day course of antibiotics when all I have is a simple chest cold. Or maybe I'll think twice about snowboarding off the trail or on super difficult terrain, because if I pop my ACL, I'm going to have to shell out a lot of money to pay for the surgery to fix it. Yeah, incentives. Funny how that works, huh? Additionally, a person could choose to deposit more money in their medical escrow account than the 10% of gross income required as a deductible. This excess could conceivably then be used to either voluntarily raise my deductible further, thus reducing my monthly premium even more, or the overage could be tapped not unlike a home equity line of credit. After all, it's your money. Or this type of account could be used by the relatively young, like me, to save up for the golden years when simple common sense dictates that medical expenses will be more frequent and premiums will be higher than they are in a person's youth. So while older people would have reduced incomes after retirement and increased healthcare expenses on average, that reality would be offset by the fact that they would have had more earning years, including all of their peak earning years, to save and build their own healthcare escrow account. Planning ahead, saving for old age, personal financial responsibility. What a concept. Now you might be asking yourself, what about people who are indigent and can't afford any insurance at all? Do we leave them out in the cold? Absolutely not. We do what people have done with regards to the poor since time immemorial. We cover them through voluntary charitable giving, be it religious or secular. Caring for the sick and the poor is one of the main worldly functions of the church. That 10% tithe that God asks for, a lot of that is supposed to go for caring for the sick and the poor. Here's the funny thing. If the free market is allowed to work and insurance is used properly by those who are not poor in a society, competition will increase, thus driving down costs, thus reducing the cost to care for the poor. In a proper, healthy, free economy, people have larger disposable incomes and thus will be able to be more generous in their tithing and or secular charitable giving. So in review, we would have increased revenues streaming into charities charged with serving the poor. And this is a proven historical empirical fact, by the way. And the cost of caring for the poor would fall at the same time. Oh, and let's not forget that in such a circumstance wherein the economy was healthy and competition controlled costs, people would have more free capital and more incentive to engage in entrepreneurial activities, thus creating jobs and thus reducing unemployment and medical indigency itself. I think that could accurately be characterized as a win-win-win situation. So, in review, the answer to our healthcare problem is less health insurance, not more. And everyone is either too stupid, too chicken, or too evil to speak this obvious truth. My name is Barnhardt, And I don't want your money, your vote, your praise, or anything else, which is why I'm willing to stand here and tell you the truth and why you would be very, very wise to listen. God bless you.